So today I thought I'd do something a little different, but we would give back. And today we're going to be giving back to our serger. I'm Vanessa with Ellie and Mac, and today I'm not only going to show you how to clean your serger properly, but where to oil, and I'm going to show you how to tie off the threads so you can easily switch from color to color. I also am going to show how I get rid of some of the skunk on my serger. So we're going to do a thorough cleaning. I'm going to show you all those tips and tricks that I use every single time it's time to clean my sergers. So what got me thinking about sergers is I have a dear friend who has wanted a serger for a long time. And she finally got one in December, but here it is June, and it's still a little scary to get it out of the box. And so we've been trying to work a time where I can come over and show her these things. But I thought, you know what? Instead of trying to figure out a time where our schedules align and where kids are there or not there, what if I made a video to show all the things that you need to know when you have a serger? And I will share this with all of you. So that's what we're going to do today. And, for me, I didn't realize where you needed to oil until my serger got really loud. And so that was an important one. I also learned how easy it is to clean your serger if you just bring in a little vacuum into your sewing room. So I have so many more tips like this, and we're just going to cover them all. And you're going to feel a lot more confident with your serger if you've had one for a long time or if yours is still sitting in the box.
So here are the things I need. I need some goof off to remove the adhesive, and then I have some Singer all-purpose oil as well as a hex screwdriver. And then this is very important to make sure you have the right hex for your machines. And then I have a little brush, some tweezers, as well as a jewelry tool set that has lots of hex sizes so I can make sure I have the right one. So we're going to start out with this Burnett Fun Lock, and the first thing that I did before I cleaned my machine was do a rolled hem with it. So this is that tight hem on the edge of like a chiffon is what I did with it. So I took out my right needle, but this gives me an opportunity to show you how to place in the needle. With the Fun Lock, we actually have separate little screws for each needle, and you need to bring the needle down through the plate in order to get it up, and it's already been loosened, and then you're just going to tighten it in. I suggest never removing these screws. They're extremely tiny. Just loosen it up and push it in and out. Now, this machine is pretty dirty. I guess the machines can be a little bit more dirty, but I feel like this is extremely dirty. So now I'm going to stitch it together, and just to make sure that all the stitches are running through. This is very important not to cut your threads short at this point because we are going to be cleaning this with a little shop vac, and you don't want to pull those threads out. Now here I have my machine opened, and sorry, every time I use the vacuum it's kind of shaking the camera, and so I'm trying to alleviate that the best I can, but just so you know, I'm sorry. And so here I'm just going to be vacuuming out any loose lint that's not stuck in any oil. So you can see how nicely that just cleans it out. And that's just like a quick thing you can do. And then I'm going to take the brush, and because oil kind of gets all over the machine, that's what is like actually trapping the lint. But as you can see, we've actually gotten most of it off. Here I'm just trying to loosen any of the lint that was stuck in with the oil or in some hidden spots. And so you're just taking that little brush and you're loosening everything up, and then I come back with my little vacuum to get all those bigger pieces that I found hidden in all those tight little spots. And I feel like this is really soothing. Like this is the part where I'm like, oh yeah, like I love that little brush. I love getting into like all those little areas. There's just like a part of every person, I think, that is just like that child side of you that gets excited about those like little things. Or maybe it's not the child side of you, it's the old lady side of you, but either way, once you have them loosened, you can use the vacuum. Now, I also like to vacuum in my tension because I feel like lint gets in here. And so I like to hold my threads and then I can vacuum. And then I just take a mildly damp piece of cotton and I'm just going to rub down any pieces that did not really work with the vacuum and with the little brush, and just like the outside of the machine that probably has gotten dirty for a while, especially the back of the machine. Oh my goodness. So dirty. Now, the thing about this machine is I bought it during COVID. And during COVID, it was the display model. It was either I had to wait 6 months for my machine to come or I could just take the display. So this is actually a display. I did not get any discounts for it. But after I wash down my whole front of my machine, I can tackle this. So this is where that goof off comes in handy. I suggest not using anything too liquidy. That's what I really like about this is it has a thickening agent in it. I don't suggest using acetone. And then I'm just going to scrape it off with the back of the tweezers. I probably would have better success with like something made for this or even like a flathead, but you know, sometimes you work with what you got. And so I'm just going to work in this goof off. And I think a lot of us put some stickers and some different things on our machine. And, you know, after some time, they kind of start wearing off. And I'm going to show you my other machine that's what we're going to be dealing with here. So I don't think I'm the only one that has this problem with like stickiness on my machine. So I do suggest using one that is just a little bit thicker because you don't want it to start running down your machine, and then you don't want anything with acetone that's going to start melting the plastic or taking any of those little decals off that are permanent on your machine. And then we're just going to keep wiping down the machine. Now here we're going to do some oil. This is some new oil. It's going to have to push a needle in through it. And then it was really hard to see in the video, so I wanted to show you a close-up picture. So this little lever comes up and down, and this is what's going to cause the most noise, and it's what you really need to oil. Once you've oiled it, this machine, you have to have that shut in order to turn it on, but you want to work that oil in. And so yeah, this does take some thread, I think, to do it properly, but it is worth it to make sure that your machine is well maintained. And so right there, I just put on a little bit extra on a little lever because it wasn't quite running as smooth as I would like it to. Now here's the trick. This is how we're going to rethread without having to actually rethread. This is the tie-off method. So we're going to take our gray thread and we're going to double, triple knot it onto our black thread. Now the important part is keep this out of your tension. And you want to make sure that this is going through that loop at the top, and you want to make sure that that knot is tight. Now with it pulled out of your tension, this is key because if it's in there, it's going to rip that knot apart. Trust me, I've tried that many times. It does not work. And you're just going to hold it out like this, and then you're going to gently run it through a serger. Now only do one thread at a time, and once you see that come into your chain stitch, then you're going to put it back in, and we're going to put it right back through our tension, and we're going to loop it through. Now we're going to put the next thread, the next gray thread in. First, we're going to cut the black thread, and you want to cut it so it's outside that little door because you need to hold it out. And so I like to hold it a little bit above so I can make sure that my knot is right. And then here is my gray thread. And again, I do a really tight double knot, and then I do one more knot to just make sure it's held in tightly. And this seems to work really well. It goes through those tiny little holes that you have to thread your serger through. Now, I can probably thread my serger in less than 10 minutes, but this is such a fast and easy way for me, especially when I'm cleaning it. And so if you're a little scared to rethread your serger from the very beginning, or you just got out of the box, just tying off those threads and pulling them out of the tension is the way to go. So I put that one back in the tension, and I'm going to be removing the black threads. Now you can remove these at the same time. Now, when we're doing our machine, it needs to be done in a certain order. So it's usually blue, red, then green, and then yellow. So here I'm going to be putting in the green first. And this is going to be my right needle. So I'm going to work that through, and then I'm going to be able to put it on my right needle right here. And these, since I normally use my serger for either one layer of woven, but mostly knits, these are knit needles, and so the opening's a little smaller. I like to use knit needles because usually you're not sewing things together with wovens, and so just having knit, they're not going to destroy any of that delicate fabric. So here is the yellow, and we're working the yellow in, and this is the left needle. Now, after we get the thread down and through the needle, you need to make sure that it goes through that opening to the right of the needles. So you can see right here, once I have it threaded, it's going in through the right, not coming out the left. And then I cut everything off so it's even. And you don't want those needle threads too long, just long enough to restart that chain stitch. And there you have it. We went from black to completely gray. And that is how you easily tie off the threads. Now here, oh man, you can see my stickers from when I bought this about 8 or 9 years ago. And so it told me which threads to do first, if it was an upper looper or lower looper, the right needle, left needle. And as you can see, my toddler stickers are absolutely looking terrible. They've yellowed, they're coming off, and I need to get them off the rest of the way. And so this is the satisfying part of the video. This is the goof off that I'm using again, and I'm just trying to take off those stickers now that I know how to properly thread my machine. I don't need those stickers on. But if you don't, adding some stickers onto your machine to remind you which thread goes first is very helpful. I have no regrets. So I put a 1 with the green, and then the blue has the 2, and then the red has the 3, and the yellow has the 4. So anyways, now here, my daughter said you couldn't see the lint until I sucked it all up. So I'm so sorry. I did not have a good view of how dirty this was. But with the vacuum again, we're just going to suck out all that lint and then just kind of go around the machine and just try to get as much loose lint as you possibly can with, this is like a 1 gallon, 3-gallon shop vac. It's really small. And again, we want to make sure we're sucking out that tension and just go all the way around nice and tightly. And then we're going to take that little brush and just brush out all those loose pieces just like we did before. Most people have this machine. It's very affordable, and I have to tell you, this machine actually runs faster than my Fun Lock. And so, even having the inexpensive machines, this one has lasted me for like 9 years. So I absolutely feel like it's worth the investment. It's a workhorse, and it's really easy to fix on your own. So here's how those stickers are coming out and with my wet cloth. Now I want to show you how to handle these needles, because changing out the needles is really important. So here's my hex. Now these needles come out together. So I'm going to slow this footage down. So I just loosen that screw. I do not take that screw out, and you can see I've dropped down those needles. When you pull those needles up, one is higher than the other, and it's going to feel wrong, but you can see them in there, and one's higher than the other. And then you just want to make sure that that's tightened up. And just keep an eye on that. You might want to actually tighten that every so often, even when you don't need a new needles. But I changed these out very recently. Now this one is really easy to see where I put the oil. You can see right there. That's where it needs the oil. Your machine starts getting loud, that is it. And a lot of these sergers come with a little oil just to put right there. My son used it for his bike, so that's why we had to buy a new one. But this oil works great for so many things around the house. So once you have the oil in, you have ran it through, and everything is nice and loosened up. It's time, everything is getting really nice and clean. This is another area that just like collects lint like crazy. We can pop everything back in, and look how nice and clean these look, and they're gonna be running better for me. So I hope you've enjoyed this video.
I know this video is a little bit different than normal. Normally I'm showing you different sewing techniques and patterns, but sometimes we just need a little bit of the basics over again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you didn't know how to tie off your serger threads, and now you do, I seriously hope that this saves you so much time and you can change those out sooner and don't have to invest in an air threader just yet. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. A like and subscribe would be great. We just appreciate having you spend some time with us. We wish you happy sewing, and I'll catch you next time.